Hello everyone and welcome to the channel Technology Kaizen. Hope you are doing good. In this video, I will be explaining you how to use Vlookup, Lookup and X Lookup so that you can understand what is the difference between these formulas and which of the formula you should use for your work. So let's start. So in the first sheet here, in the Vlookup sheet, you can see few columns entered here with product, product ID, purchase date, color and price. From this data set, I want to retrieve one product. Suppose let's do Samsung. So I want to get the price for Samsung. So the best formula for this one is VLOOKUP. Now VLOOKUP has four parameters that you have to enter. You start with equals VLOOKUP, then you go for the lookup value, then the table array, column index number, and range lookup. What does that mean? We simply start typing VLOOKUP, we open that, and what is the value that we are searching for? We are looking for the value Samsung. We are going to select that Samsung. Next, where is the data located, where the data has to be searching? So we are going to select the table which is containing the whole data. Now the third one is column index number after taking the table. What does that mean? VLOOKUP searches information from left to right in terms of columns. For example, this column is considered as 1, this is 2, this is 3, 4 and 5. So I wanted the 5, so hence the column number is 5 in this example. And finally, you have one more parameter that has to be entered, which is an approximate match or an exact match. So we're going to take false, which is an exact match, and let's hit enter and see whether it's working or not. Fine. As you can see, Samsung 590. Now the beauty of VLOOKUP or any other formulas that we are learning is they are dynamic, meaning that if I change the product name here, something like to HP, then it should automatically update the price in that formula. So that's done. So let's go for the second formula, that is Lookup. It's exactly the opposite. So if we take the data here, it is exactly the transpose data, which is nothing but in horizontal format. Now based on the data here, I want to retrieve the price for Sony. Now if you notice here, Sony is contained in this particular column and with a value of 620. Now the data is in such a format that I have to use Lookup because everything is entered in row wise. So I'm going to use a Lookup which is exactly or the opposite of VLOOKUP. So let's start with Lookup. Let me type it in. Then the lookup value will be the product Sony. Then we'll take the table. Now we need to mention the row number which is containing the price. Like VLOOKUP, we need to mention the number of row here in terms of the column. So first row contains the product name, second row product ID, third row purchase date, fourth row color, and the fifth row is containing the price. So we wanted the price. So let me hit 5 and let me type in the false, which is for exact match, and close parenthesis. Hit enter. Now we have completed VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP, but one thing we need to note that VLOOKUP can only search information from left to right, whereas HLOOKUP can only retrieve data from top to bottom. But what is XLOOKUP exactly? So XLOOKUP is basically an alternative for your VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP, which can do vertical as well as horizontal lookup. It requires only three arguments equals XLOOKUP, lookup value, lookup array, and return arrow. Suppose we want to return the value for Sony here. So let me type in X lookup instead of V lookup this time. So we are taking the lookup value, comma. Now it's asking where the Sony product is located in terms of data. So it is located in this column, that is the product column here, comma. Now it's simply asking in which column does your returning value contain. It's returning in the price. That's it. You close the parenthesis and enter. There you got it. You got the Sony price. Let's check it whether it's dynamic or not. Let me change that to access, and it's working for it. Now let's do that for the horizontal manner. Let's do that for HP here. I want to return the price for HP based on this data, like a H lookup. But instead we are using X lookup. X lookup. Lookup value is HP, comma, the table. So we know the row number which is containing price, that is 5, and we say false for exact match. There you have it. No, no, yeah, sorry, I made a mistake here. So let me cut it down. Lookup value. I was using the H lookup concept. So we are going to use the X lookup. The lookup value, comma, is located in this one, comma. and I have to take the price plus parenthesis and enter. Now you got the price for HP as it is. Now, what is the difference between this VLOOKUP, HLOOKUP, and XLOOKUP, and where you have to use that? Now, VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP are great only when you have the data in a proper structure, where you have to search information only from left to right if you are using VLOOKUP, and it doesn't work if it is the situation is reversed. Suppose you have been asked that you want to retrieve a data from right to left. For example, I have mentioned a column here which is retrieving from left to right. Let's check it out using VLOOKUP. Then we'll do that with XLOOKUp. Both should return the same value, so there won't be any difference here. So let's look at the price for VLOOKUP here. So let me type in VLOOKUP. The lookup value is still in over here, comma, the whole table, comma, the column number which is containing the price, that is column number 5. Then we type in false, which is an exact match. So wonderful, it has returned the value here. Now instead of VLOOKUP, we are going to use the XLOOKUP to do the same, which is a simpler formula compared to VLOOKUP. So you take the lookup value, you mention where it is located, and you mention what is the value that you want to return here. I want to return the price. So I selected the column which is containing the price and enter. So both of them are working perfectly, though the XLOOKUP is a little bit shorter because it has one less parameter. Now the beauty of XLOOKUP is it can do the reverse lookup as well, where VLOOKUP fails to do that. VLOOKUP can only search information from left to right, but it will always fail if you are doing from right to left. There are alternative ways you can use that, like index and match with other formulas, but the best way is to use XLOOKUP. So let's try it here. So I have a price of 380, that is basically SS brand here. So I'm going to use the VLOOKUP here to retrieve it. I want to know the brand name. So let's try the VLOOKUP. This is not going to work. Select the table. Now column 1 is containing my product name, so I'm going to keep it 1. I'm going to type in like false, close bracket and enter. So it has failed to return that. It is basically saying NA, meaning not applicable here. So let's try to use the XLOOKUP function to do the same. So XLOOKUP will take the 380 value and we'll mention that it's located in the price column. Based on that price column, I want to search the product name. That's it. Plus parenthesis and enter. Now as you can see, it's working perfectly fine. If we change the price to something else, it should automatically update to the right product. So it's working left to right as well as right to left. Now it can do the same thing for H lookup as well. It can do the top to bottom and bottom to top as well. So let's check it out. So I want to search the price using X lookup from top to bottom, and I want to do the same with X lookup from top to bottom again. So let me start with the H lookup first. So H lookup, which is horizontal lookup, the lookup value is the Sony here, L13, comma, the table. Now the row number is 5 because that is the price right now from the top to bottom in our table. Then you type in false, close parenthesis or close bracket and enter. You got the price. So it's working perfectly fine. This is what we have learned in the previous example. Now let's do that with X lookup. So this should also work fine. So lookup value would be this one this time. The same table. Instead of the same table, I need to take the first, only the name that is containing there. Then I want to return the value from the price. So you close parenthesis and enter. So both of them are working exactly. Now what about in reverse? Suppose if I ask something that is reverse, like we look up right to left, instead of this time I'm asking something bottom to top. I can do the same again, but obviously HLOOKUP will fail because it cannot return or it cannot search from bottom to top. It can only do from top to bottom. So let's try the HLOOKUP here. Let's try it out. So I want to search for the 590 product, that is Samsung. Lookup table, comma, row number 1 is containing the product name. Then I type in like false, which is for exact match. So just like we look up, it failed to retrieve in the reverse order. So let's try to use the X lookup to retrieve from bottom to top. So equals X lookup, the lookup value, comma the table, not the table here because we want to search on the basis of price and we want to return the product name. Close parenthesis and enter. So it's working perfectly fine. Let's change the price to check whether it's working or not. So let me change that to 480 and it should be HP. So that's the difference between VLOOKUP, HLOOKUP and XLOOKUP. XLOOKUP is a new version of VLOOKUP So as VLOOKUP has been using since such a long time, so Xlookup has been used for multi purposes, to left to right, right to left, top to bottom, and bottom to top. So that's it for this video, guys. Hope you like the content. Don't forget to subscribe to channel, like the video, and see you in the next video.